So I'm Jenny Magdal. I'm the IB Diploma Program Coordinator at the high school. And mindfulness is something that I've been practicing as a way to support my health for the past few years. I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis and chronic pain, and have found it to be very beneficial when I do practice mindfulness. However, it's difficult to build into your life. So I'm constantly trying and trying again to make healthy habits for myself. We're going to talk about some of those habits today. For those of you just able to join us now, we're going to be doing a lot of reflecting, a lot of practicing of mindfulness activities. So you'll probably want to mute your video so you won't feel uncomfortable meditating. And you can mute your video by dragging your cursor to the bottom of the screen. And there's going to pop up a little icon that looks like a video camera. And if you click on that, you will be able to mute yourself. And please also have some paper and a writing utensil handy throughout this session. So we're going to start by me muting myself as well, because you don't need to see me meditate either. We're going to start with an actual meditation from the Calm app, which I know for a while they were running some freebies, and unfortunately they're not anymore. But if they ever do again, I recommend joining
to this
it.
5-minute session on returning to the here and now. To start, find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and check in with your posture. Keep your upper body straight, not rigid. Let your shoulders and chest relax, and allow your hands to feel soft. Now take a few full deep breaths in and out, letting go of the day, letting go of anything on your to-do list. Just relaxing into awareness of this moment and bringing your awareness to the breath, the relaxed, natural breath. Feeling into the breath of this scene, whatever that looks like. Follow the breath, feeling its full cycle from the beginning through the middle to the end. Let the bell act as a mindfulness reminder to wake you to the present moment, giving it your full and undivided attention each time it rings. Draw your full attention to the sound of the bell for as long as it sustains, from the very start to the very end. Follow the breath in the same way. Let the sound of the bell act as a reminder to come back to this moment. Each time you return, do so with a quality of friendliness, just noticing where the mind's been and gently coming back. View the moment of noticing as an invitation to return to the here and now. And as the practice finishes, take a moment to notice how you feel. Then, when you're ready, open your eyes and bring this moment to moment awareness with you into the day.
Excellent. Thank you all for taking part in that practice. Get back to our slides here. So we're going to take a moment and ponder this question. If you join us a little bit later, please grab something to write with and something to write on. This is going to be very much a reflective session where we're practicing mindfulness techniques. And calm and happiness go hand in hand. Our malleable brain allows us to shape how we go through this life. So hopefully in the next few weeks, you'll be able to implement some of the practices that we go through today. And then you can ask yourself this question a second time. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how happy are you with your life right now? And hopefully the practices that you choose to participate in will allow you to increase that number. We're going to shift to a little bit of brain science here. So I just mentioned that our brains are malleable. We're going to talk about what really makes people happy and what our brain science tells us from Dr. Laurie Santos.
She's actually done some really cool scientific work to try to parse this out, to try to say, okay, how much do genes play into happiness? How much do life circumstances play into happiness, and so on. And the fast version of it is that to look at the role of genes, she's been able to look at different happiness measures across identical twins who presumably have the same genes. And she can compare their kind of happiness correlation with happiness correlations across fraternal twins who don't have the same genes but have similar life circumstances. A bunch of studies on that. There's also a bunch of studies looking at life circumstances, particularly people's life circumstances where there's been some sort of like train wreck, for lack of a better term, like really terrible things happen, like you become paraplegic, you like lose your job, you become a widow, all these things. And you can kind of parse all the different parts together and ask how much of a contribution is all these different things actually making. And this is the pie chart that she's kind of famously come up with to describe this stuff of how much of a contribution each of these things makes. There is a decently big slice that comes from your genetics. It seems like we do actually have a genetic set point for happiness. This idea that some people are glass full people, some people are glass empty, that does seem to be borne out by the data, but often way less than we think. It's only about 50%. There's a lot of movement there. The thing that's amazing is the life circumstances part, the thing we really think affects you, like if you had a car crash or you were paraplegic or you won the lottery, all these things, that actually is the smallest component of our happiness. It seems like only about 10% of our actual happiness is affected by that. The final part seems to be based on all kinds of actions, intentions, habits that people bring in that big 40% seems to control a lot of our happiness. And the good news is that unlike the other stuff, that part really is under our control. It's under our control in important ways. We can work towards it. And she has this lovely quote about this, and she says, our intentional, effortful activities have a powerful effect on how happy we are, over and above the effect of set points, these genetic things, and the circumstances we find ourselves in. We can work hard to be happier. The problem is that we seem to be working towards the wrong things. We seem to be putting our time into things like getting good grades and getting the best job and all this stuff. We plan for that stuff. It's not the stuff that we.
So we're going to talk about some of those things that truly will help make us happier. And hopefully this idea of you having agency over your own happiness, it feels as empowering to you as it does to me. So here's another meditation that you can do throughout your day. It's called a self-scan, mind, heart, and body. So find a comfortable position to sit in, or sit with dignity is another way of saying that. The main thing is that you want to be able to fully inhale and exhale. And as you're sitting there, scan yourself. We'll do this for 1 minute. Think about what's going on in your mind, how your heart is feeling, and what sensations you're feeling in your body. Slowly bring your attention back to your surroundings and take a few moments to journal what you noticed from the experience. Is this something that you think you would want to do again or not, and why? And how are you right now? So if we look at the science of our mind and then the science of our body, there are certain things that if we make them a practice should improve our well-being. The two most common ones that you hear about and that people don't question are exercise and sleep. And it's going to vary depending on your health circumstances. So talk to your doctor about how much exercise you should be getting, what kind of exercise you should be doing, all of that. And sleeping, there's often recommendations for certain age groups of how much sleep should happen each day. And quite often, the recommendation is that you are sleeping during a set point each day. Sorry that you guys got the wrong link, but welcome. We're going to be doing a lot of reflecting today. So if you could grab a pen and a paper, that would be lovely. We're doing a lot of practicing of meditation. So if you want to mute your video, that way you won't feel awkward as you're doing the meditation with everyone. And you can do that by going to the bottom of your screen with your cursor and clicking on the little video camera to mute yourself. Well, I'm glad you made it here. So we're just talking a little bit about the science of well-being. And on that pen and paper that you have, I want you to reflect a little on what steps you could take to increase the exercise that you do in the next few weeks. So think about what it is that you like to do. It's beautiful weather right now. Getting out for a walk is a lovely idea. So how can you slowly add different exercises into your week? We're home and on our computer a lot. Where can you fit in time to just get up and move? How could you do that? Would you set yourself an alarm so that every half an hour you get up and move? And reflect on your sleep. Habits and routines can help us wind down for the evening. Most phones have a way that you can set them so that they turn to a different color and are less pleasing to look at a specific time. You might do that if you're finding you're on your phone more often than not. And besides these two most common recommendations for improving your well-being, there's some other things that are getting more press now, like meditation and savoring, the practice of gratitude, doing random acts of kindness, making social connections, and mindfulness. And we're going to focus the rest of this session on those last bulleted items: meditation, savoring, gratitude, random acts of kindness, social connections, and mindfulness. We're going to start with a little video on mindfulness versus mindlessness.
Mindfulness is the broad term used for bringing our attention to the present moment in an open, kind, and non-judgmental way. It is simply a skill, a way of seeing, and a way of being that can allow us to engage more fully with our life, bringing us less stress and more happiness. This skill of mindfulness can be developed in two ways: formally through meditation practices, or informally by simply aligning our thoughts with our behaviours in everyday life. For example, giving your full attention to a person during conversation, or observing the experience of making a cup of tea instead of getting caught up in thoughts. Essentially, stopping to smell the roses. Both methods of practice are beneficial and will support you to live with a greater degree of calm, clarity, and connection. The opposite of mindfulness is mindlessness or autopilot, kind of like taking the back seat and letting your thoughts and emotions drive your decisions and actions. Mindfulness works because it allows us to step out of our autopilot mode and get into the driver's seat. So instead of reacting, thinking in circles, or repeating old habits, we are able to respond to the events in life with greater empowerment and choice. We can all build our mindfulness muscle, like a workout for the mind. You've perhaps glimpsed it when engaging in an activity we love, where we feel completely immersed in the moment. Example, whilst running, swimming, cooking, painting, or playing an instrument, where our mind becomes calm and clear. Mindfulness is a tool that can allow us to bring this calm and clear perspective to all of our moments. It helps to create space between us and our thoughts. It allows us to notice our thoughts, emotions, and our surroundings and choose what we attach ourselves to, what we let pass by, like clouds in the sky floating by. Over time, this can allow us to be less stressed, less reactive, and more focused and connected. This
Okay. So we're going to do another practice here. This one's called the 3 Bs. So we're going to take a moment to breathe. Notice our breath. Be taking deep, slow breaths. And body. Notice how you feel. If you feel tension anywhere in your body, try to relax and release that tension. And then we're going to begin. We're going to begin the task and be thoughtful in our actions. So, our task in this moment is to think about somebody that we don't normally reach out to. Whether you think that maybe there's somebody who's struggling right now, or just because it's Tuesday could use a little pick me up. So, think of someone and then just send them a text message or an email. We're going to take about 2 minutes for you to do that. These 3 Bs are a good way to transition in your own life, but it's also a habit that you can teach to your classes and work with your classes, or if you work with adults and you're doing meetings and you're switching topics, this is another good practice that you can all do together before moving from one thing to the next. One more minute to think of who you would like to brighten their day and send that text message. Thank you for taking that time to share some kindness out into the world. So we've said that mindfulness has scientific research to prove that it's going to help our well-being, as do random acts of kindness. The next one that we're going to practice is savoring. So we're going to take 7 minutes. I'm going to start the clock here. And you're actually going to get up and go to somewhere where you can grab either a snack or a drink. That drink might just be water. Our bodies need water and we often don't give it enough. You're going to use your 5 senses to examine the item before and while ingesting it. Notice how it feels as you chew, swallow, and after swallowing. So 7 minutes, get up, move around, and savor what it is that you choose to ingest. Thank you for taking some time to savor. Mindful eating is a great practice, but it's not the only way to savor, or food in general is not the only thing that we can savor. Savoring is something that we can do anytime we're having a positive experience. You stop and think about what it is that you're feeling and doing. You start to make neural connections that are longer lasting and will keep bringing you feelings of happiness when you think of that thing in the future. So, we've talked about mindfulness, random acts of kindness, and savoring. Now we're going to practice gratitude. A little quote at the top for us there. Gratitude brings us more into the present and enriches our experience of it, feeding into a spiral of positive emotions. We're actually going to do two things for the next 15 minutes. The first one is you're going to write out a little list. Think about the things that you're thankful for right now in this moment. And then read back through your list. And intentionally give words of thanks to each point that you've made on your list. And then the second one, the one that you'll spend more time on, is to think of someone that's living that you're grateful for. And I asked earlier, but I know not everybody was here, so I apologize. If you don't have anything to write with that's handy, please grab some paper and a writing utensil and journal for a few minutes a letter explaining to that person why you were thankful for them. Again, we're going to take 15 minutes total. I would expect part 2 will take you more time than part 1, so just gauge your time appropriately. And we'll get started, in a moment when I don't have tech issues. Here we go. Now. Thank you for taking the time to practice the habit of gratitude. So we've practiced mindfulness, random acts of kindness, savoring, and gratitude so far. Next, we will practice meditation by tying it in to gratitude.
Welcome to the 7 Days of Gratitude, a program designed to enhance your experience of gratitude in day-to-day life. How often do you pause to appreciate what you have? For most of us, the answer is not enough. We tend to focus our attention on that which we lack, and it's easy for day-to-day things to go by unnoticed. But if people realized that gratitude was kind of like a superpower and responsible for strengthening immunity, enhancing optimism, and unlocking happiness, they'd probably practice it a whole lot more. When we focus on that for which we're grateful, it makes us feel good because it widens our perspective. When we're caught in stress or despair, we often develop tunnel vision and are only able to focus on the negative. Gratitude helps us see the bright side of things amidst the challenges. It enables us to appreciate our circumstances and all that we have rather than focusing on what we lack. It's really the perfect remedy for an unhappy disposition because when we're experiencing wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation, our mood transforms to joy. So the question is, how can we strengthen our experience of gratitude? We can't manufacture emotions, and for many of us, finding gratitude is challenging. Not everyone's a glass half full kind of person. Luckily, gratitude is a habit that can be developed. By taking time to regularly focus on what's good in our lives, the more gratitude grows and the easier it becomes. Over the next 7 days, I'll be addressing the many gifts of gratitude. You'll learn how it unlocks happiness, improves our health, and tempers the pursuit of more. You'll discover how it strengthens our relationships, sharpens our attention, helps us through tough times, and opens our heart. You'll learn tools and techniques to bring gratitude into your life and practical ways to strengthen the habit. By the end of this program, you'll learn how to make gratitude a daily practice and enjoy enhanced happiness as a result. So with that said, how about giving it a try? Let's start our practice by settling into your seat with a tall, straight back. Rest your hands in an easy, effortless way. And when you're ready, close your eyes. Feel the length of your body relax. And as you settle in, take a few long, deep breaths. Deep inhales. Slow, full exhales. Relaxing into this moment. And then returning to the natural breath, letting go of any tension or striving, just following the natural breath as it flows in and out. Relaxing into the rhythm of the breath, finding stillness in this moment. And then bringing your attention to the body, letting the eyes be soft, the forehead smooth, allowing any tension in the jaw to dissolve. And bring a hint of a smile to the lips, just enjoying the tranquility of this moment. Feel the throat relaxed, the shoulders loosening. Allow the chest to be open. Tuning into a sense of relaxed aliveness through your body. Now calling on a sense of gratitude, starting with gratitude for this very moment, the fact that you are here right now. Finding gratitude for our bodies that we often push so hard, our bodies that give us strength and resilience, our incredible immune system that intuitively defends us from illness and helps us heal. Knowing our state of health can change in an instant, so not taking anything for granted. Appreciating the use of our senses, our eyes that let us view spectacular colors in the sky, our ears that let us hear the trickle of rain, music, and the voices of our loved ones, our ability to touch, taste, smell, offering us a direct enjoyment of the world around us. And now, finding appreciation for the people in our lives, our family, our partners, friends, old and new, people who have offered us support and kindness, children who bring us laughter. So on your next inhale, bring to mind the person you're most grateful for right now. Picture that person. See their face smiling. And with your whole body, breathe in deeply, really feeling into that appreciation. And on the out breath, breathe out gratitude. And just take a few moments now to rest your attention on anything else you feel appreciative of. It could include a simple pleasure you experience daily, like your favorite breakfast, the enjoyment of a hot shower, the internet, or connecting you with others despite the physical distance. The beauty of Mother Nature, forests, beaches, and sunsets. The moon and the stars for brightening our night sky. Life's challenges for helping you learn, grow, and become who you are today. The time you experienced a great surprise, joy, or laughter. Breathe in deeply, relishing that for which you're grateful, and allow gratitude to sink into your heart and permeate your body. And now take a moment to bring awareness to how gratitude feels in your body and in your heart. Is there a feeling of openness and expansion? Just tune in to the feeling of gratitude in your mind and body as it flows through you. Time and time again, research shows that those who have an attitude of gratitude are more alert, optimistic, and happy. How could they not be when gratitude blocks toxic and negative emotions and promotes the savoring of positive ones? People who practice gratitude consistently feel more generous, compassionate, and connected to others. Ultimately, gratitude is one of the great keys to unlocking happiness. So, as a way to begin building the habit of bringing gratitude into your life, tonight, just before bed, reflect on 5 things for which you're grateful. And when you recite the list in your mind, remember it's not enough to just say the words. The point is to really tune in to the feeling of appreciation for whatever you mention. That's when you'll experience the benefits. That's all you need to do to start and begin strengthening your propensity towards gratitude. And as we approach the end of the session, come back to the room, come back to your body. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Tomorrow we'll be focusing on how gratitude.
Thank you all for practicing that meditation with me. So far today, we've looked at some techniques that you can make habits of within your life, like the mind, heart, body scan, and the 3 Bs as we go into a new activity. We've talked about strategies that you can have and practices throughout your life, like exercise and sleep, meditation, savoring, gratitude, random acts of kindness, and mindfulness. So before we move on to our last activity, I want you to think through all of those different methods of increasing our calm and our happiness, and set yourself a goal. Over the first quarter of this school year, what is something that you want to implement that is going to increase your calm and happiness? And before I move on to our last activity, I'd just like to thank you all for being here today, for learning and practicing with me. And I would like to invite you to email me anytime you have questions about any of these topics. And I just plopped my email address into the chat there. And so our very last activity is actually social connection. That was the one I hadn't gotten to yet. And so we're gonna all log off of our computers, and I want you to call someone to chat. Best yet, you could call the person that you wrote the note to when we were talking about gratitude and read that note to them. So thank you all. Thank you for the kind comments in the chat as well. I hope you all have a wonderful start to the school year. Take care.